Bogotá is the capital and largest city of Colombia. It's the most populous city in the country. Bogotá and its metropolitan area had a population of around 8 million in 2010, and it's growing fast. Could you explain to me, as if I was a 6-year-old, what are you accused of and how did it happen?
I am a former guerrilla fighter. 25 years ago, I took part in a peace process and gave up weapons. Institutions changed, and they gave us civil rights. The country was democratized, and 25 years later, we have won, through democratic elections, the most important city hall in Colombia. We've had a relative political and economic autonomy, and we've been deprived of that authority through an administrative civil servant. It means that we have not been deprived by a court, a ruling like the mayor has committed a crime and he has to leave. No. It was solely the decision of a public official who took away the right to vote from Bogotan electors, and which bars me from standing for elected office for 15 years.
What were the accusations?
We tried to take a political but also administrative decision, which was ordered by the Constitutional Court, to change the city's cleaning services. It was a completely privatized model. We transformed this into a mixed system. We created a public enterprise which competes in the market, and we included, on the order of the Constitutional Court, around 14,000 working-class collectors, men and women. These people go out every day to collect recyclable garbage, which they can sell on the market. The Constitutional Court ordered us to include these people in this new model so that they could earn money to give them some dignity.
Y la Corte Constitucional ordenó incluirlos dentro del modelo de acero, remunerarlos, dignificarlos como remunerados.
By doing that, big private enterprises saw their profits fall, so they started to sabotage the service, trying to claw back their privileges.
Estos salieron a sabotear el servicio, nos dejaron 3 días.
They didn't collect garbage for 3 days and left it lying in the streets. And then they started to make official complaints. One of these was picked up by the public prosecutor, who used it to deprive the city of its vote by sacking its mayor.
Why did the High Court of Bogotá change its mind?
It didn't change its mind. The Inter-American Commission of Human Rights decided to protect me with special measures. It means that I'll be mayor from the beginning to the end of my mandate. It was a unanimous decision by the Commission. But President Santos didn't respect this decision. For the first time in the history of Colombia, this caused my suspension for 1 month. The Bogotá High Court told the President, through a safeguard measure, that the decision of the Commission had to be respected. So he was ordered to put me back in place. That's the reason why you and me, Alberto, are having this conversation in Bogotá City Hall.
Violence in many regions produces displaced people who go into cities and end up in poor areas like the ones existing in Bogotá. These areas become havens for drug lords and paramilitary forces. How is it possible to escape from this hell?
I believe that to get peace, we have to change the political model, integrating all of the country's population by the democratization of Colombia. But this means also having the courage to search for a way out of the problem of drug trafficking. Both things go together, because it all started with social exclusion and violence and led to drug trafficking, which uses violence for its own ends. But if we don't solve the first problem, which provoked the violence, we won't solve the rest. Drug lords have used violence to control the state and the territory in Colombia. It makes the drugs trade almost indestructible. Drug lords in Colombia have state powers.
What do you think about the war on drugs in Colombia? Do you believe that legalization could be an option?
Internal legalization of drug consumption allows us to rescue the consumer, often young and poor, from the control of local gangs. We started it somehow in Bogotá, and they punished me for that. We started a public health program for drug addicts. But regarding the global drugs trade, its international connections, money laundering and so on, an eventual global legalization, all that doesn't depend on a single mayor, not even on a president. It depends on a global discussion which is already going on, although very slowly. Even if more and more people start to understand that the so-called war against drugs has only made drug cartels stronger, it has made the mafia stronger in its ability to occupy the state and increase levels of social illness.
You have a second chance now. What are you going to do?
We still suffer from instability. Above myself, there is an anti-democratic Damocles sword. Until now, I was protected by the justice system, but I'm still at risk because the Attorney General is very strong and can influence many judges by offering jobs to their sons, their brothers, and building unholy, corrupt links. So he was able to neutralize safeguards and instruments we have in Colombian legislation. That's why the safeguard measures decided by the Inter-American Commission for Human Rights are so important. That's why Santos is in a poor position, because he first refused to implement them and then accept them, but instead raised some incertitudes. And that has created instability in Bogotá. That is why I consider international solidarity so important.
Gustavo Petro, gracias por esta entrevista.
Bueno, a usted, Alberto, y a sus televidentes europeos.
Gracias.